Animal protein, is it good for you? Well, I definitely don't think so. Anti-aging for one, I'm 50. Yeah.
Is animal protein bad for you? Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Westman and welcome back to another Dr. Westman Reacts. This video, the reason animal protein is bad for you, is from Raw Vegan Rising. Consider the source, of course, of any video you watch. More and more of my patients are telling me now they don't have cable TV. They are watching YouTube. They see me on TV. Well, no, it's their TV and it's YouTube, but it's not network television. Anyway, if you don't have my top 10 tips on how to start keto right, please check in the description below. Back to Raw Vegan Rising. Best I can tell, looking at his information, he's a follower of a raw vegan diet and is a promoter, not a physician or a health-trained person, but someone who's doing it, is into it, and teaching others how to do it. Let's see what he said. Well, and trying to get other people not to be non-vegans. So trying to get people to become vegan by trashing, criticizing the animal protein, you'll then therefore want to become a vegan, I guess, is the thought process. Let's see what he has to say.
Animal protein, is it good for you? Well, I definitely don't think so. I first went vegan when I was 17 years old, and I'm 50 now, so I've been working to master a life without animal protein. And I will say that it's without question, hands down, the best diet. It feels the best. It gives you the best benefits. Anti-aging for one, I'm 50. Yeah.
So this is a testimonial, best I can tell so far.
Look at me. Now, I'm obviously not a 20-something anymore, or a 30-something, or a 40-something. But you know, for 50, I know I look better than a lot of people my age. It's not genetics. My family doesn't look good. It's because of my lifestyle. I've avoided
Well, wait a minute. His family doesn't look good? Wait.
animal protein for many, many decades. Animal protein causes acid buildup in the body. Acid destroys us from the inside. It burns the digestive system, it burns the skin, it burns the organs. Acids will make you feel terrible, look terrible. You know, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's, arthritis, skin inflammation, acne, all that stuff, graying hair, all that stuff is acids. So
remember, there may be many ways to go about being healthy, including different types of healthy diets. But to say that there's acids bad for you, I mean, as a physician, or if you're trained in any allied health or even biology in high school or college, you'll learn that your stomach produces acid. Your stomach produces acid to the level of battery acid in a car, or even more acidic, so that it can break down the foods that you eat into its component parts. So I've never really subscribed or been scientifically convinced that acid-forming foods is a thing, because you can measure acidity in the urine, you can measure your blood acidity, but to say that the food you're eating is acid forming, it kind of belies the whole idea that your stomach is actually producing acid. And now maybe you would produce less, and I don't know. But all those things he just mentioned get better on a low-carb keto diet. So maybe there are several ways to go about things, but to say the animal protein is bad for you because it causes acid, to me, is not really scientific.
I am 50. Living an alkaline lifestyle. When you eat meat, you're just introducing a lot of negative side effects to your body. So acid buildup is one. Also, the meat just kind of putrefies because it attracts the wrong bacteria in your gut. And it moves through your gut so slowly that it will cause very poor digestion. And then,
did you follow, if you didn't follow me before, I did a prior video on a fellow who had an ileostomy, meaning he had a bag hooked up to the end of his intestine. His colon was no longer in there. And he made the astute observation, so he inspects everything that comes out, that meat never comes out. It's fully digested. I don't understand this putrefaction. It reminds me in a movie spoof of Battle Creek, Michigan, and Kellogg, that era. They look into a microscope and someone says, bring up some meat. And they look in the microscope and there are bacteria moving. And then he brings up some feces and says, look, there are bacteria in both. So therefore it's bad. And well, wait a minute. One of the reasons we have acid in our stomachs actually is to kill bacteria. So that, for example, people who have no stomach acid anymore are susceptible to tuberculosis, for example, because the stomach acid isn't there. People who are on long-term stomach acid suppressors, like proton pump inhibitors, can be more susceptible to infection because they don't have that stomach acid. So anyway, that video from the fellow who talked about his ileostomy was fantastic. If you haven't looked at it, please go back. Rarely will you get that glimpse as to what someone puts in their mouth and what comes out their ileum, or their small intestine. What he showed basically, or said, was the cereal, the fibrous things come out undigested, and the meat, for example, you never saw any coming out the other end because it gets digested so well.
And it creates biofilms. The bacteria create biofilm, which inhibit absorption and utilization. So when you do go plant-based, you can't get your iron, you can't get your B12, and you become nutrient deficient.
So there's that word, plant-based.
If you clean out your gut and you rehabilitate your body, you can thrive on a plant-based diet. But meat and animal products just kind of poison you from the inside slowly, very, very slowly. But that's why we see certain cultures around the world that have high animal-based diets, they do have shortened lifespans because it is poisonous and there's just no way around it. It's survival food.
So, again, I like to be precise with my language. To me, a poison, well, that's like a poisonous dart that has something on the end of it, and you die like right then, or you drink some sort of poison hemlock and you die. I mean, or dangers, you're on the edge of a cliff. This is fear mongering, and so it's not dangerous. Okay, maybe it's harmful over a period of time. Even then, I don't see any data to support it. And actually, there are indigenous cultures who thrive on meat-based kind of programs or ways of eating it, which doesn't mean that non-meat-based things can't be healthy. I'm not saying that. I'm just, if you want to talk to a keto expert, talk to a keto expert. If you want to talk to a vegan expert, talk to a vegan expert. It's when we talk about things we don't know where things get confusing.
Also, meat just doesn't digest all the way. It creates undigested particles of food in the body. And then we actually...
again, go find the video that we did. In fact, let's make a link below if you want to see the fellow talk about his ileostomy and what he puts in his mouth and what comes out the other end.
We have undigested particles of food that get into our blood and into our brain, and it really just affects the way we think. It's not the highest caliber of health, the highest caliber of vibration of way of thinking and feeling our best. Really, look. And you can't escape the fact that eating meat means you have to kill something, you got to murder it, you got to cut it up into parts, put it in your freezer. I mean, who else does that, Yeah,
well, that's a legitimate point, the ethical concerns he's talking about. And if you don't, I don't know, murder is a little strong. Apparently we as humans have murdered animals for a long time. Some cultures will do that and have a formal sort of thankfulness or say a prayer to the animal as you eat it. But so, this is the circle of life, and if some people can't feel that it's appropriate, that's fine. But ethics are an interesting thing. Your ethics may not be the same as mine, and then we have law to kind of make sure that we're all within a certain realm, not murdering each other. So again, murder is something that's illegal. It's illegal. So I don't know that it's illegal to hurt animals or to kill them. Now, if you're going to eat them, now you might even say, well, to kill an animal for sport is unethical. Well, that's a legitimate way to look at it. If someone might want to kill an animal for sport and they don't feel ethically bound by the same ethical rules in their minds.
Oh, I mean, it reminds me of like a serial killer, like Jeffrey Dahmer or something, body parts in the freezer. I mean, God, I know it's kind of weird, but it is. That's what it is. So,
So that never occurred to me. Wow. I grew up in Wisconsin where there was a fellow, Dahmer or Ed Gein or some who really did have like body parts in the fridge. Some of my patients will share in actually either purchasing or hunting, getting an animal, sharing the animal, and having them in the freezer. I doubt that they're thinking in the same way, like they have murdered a human and have them in the freezer. That, man, I mean, that, you know, this can go even to the extreme. There's a group called the breatharians where they're worried about killing the bacteria that you take in, and you have to kill that, you know, so they don't even want to breathe, which is really kind of ridiculous to the extreme, because then, of course, you can't live if you don't breathe. So the ethical distance where people go is interesting, but that's not really scientific to me, although it's valid in their minds, of course.
that's what it is. So there's no way to get around the ethics being wrong. It's just not good ethical choices to do that. So there are some benefits to eating meat though. Like one, you can see bodybuilders and fitness people can be like really lean and really muscular. And while high protein in the diet can temporarily make you look muscular, it's like burning the candles at both ends. Then you just age quicker.
There's an interesting metaphor I've seen used a lot. No, the long-term eating of animal seems to be fine. So again, here he's bringing in the fear-mongering of it, where there's just not much science there.
Nobody likes an old-looking dude who's wrinkly and gray and bald but has muscles. You know, that's not what people want.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting how he can talk about how terrible it is to harm an animal, but he has no problem of talking about old, wrinkly men who eat meat. Sorry. It reminds me of when I would make fun of my older brothers because they had acne, you know, well, then I got acne. So, you know, careful, raw vegan rising, you're probably going to get older, but I hope you do. But let's not make fun of other people, how they look or how they even choose to live their ethical lives if within their own ethical framework that seems okay to them.
People want attractiveness. So as you age, you look attractive and you have an attractive energy and you are an attractive person, kind, compassionate, thoughtful, intentional person. And so you can have muscle by working out without eating that animal protein. Now, exercise is fantastic. I work out almost every day because it stimulates my hormones, stimulates my nervous system, stimulates my circulatory system, and it helps with detoxification. So exercise, lifting weights is critical for detoxification to help eliminate waste, which helps you look good and feel good as you age. But if you overdo the protein though, then you're counteracting the benefits because you're introducing all of this waste into the body, slowing down the digestion and absorption process, but you're trying to be athletic and fit. It doesn't make any sense. Keep your body alkaline and you're going to age really good. And you'll have great skin when you're 50 and beyond. You'll have great hair when you're 50 and beyond. And having moderate muscle mass, healthy muscle mass is more attractive anyway. Trying to overly build muscle, yeah, maybe you get jacked when you're like 29 or 35, but is that sustainable your whole life? Not really. It's better to just be strong, healthy, fit, and to live a lifestyle that promotes longevity, health, well-being, alkalinity, detoxification, hydration of the body. Now, I'm a raw vegan. I've been fully raw vegan for 6 years. And I've been on my plant-based journey now for like 34 years, and it's led me to raw food. I have to be raw to be healthy because look, trying to survive on starch and potatoes and grains and rice, that's not going to be healthy. You're going to fail if you do that. You're going to get fat, and you're going to end up going back to animal products because you don't think you can sustain it because you can't.
Well, that's interesting. There's an overlap of what I teach, which for a keto diet, you don't want starch either. So there are often Venn diagrams where You can do a low carb and get the insulin low in your body by doing lots of different sources of food. You could be meatitarian, you could be vegetarian, you could eat a combination of the two. That's interesting that he is aware that starches are the fattening element in the food because it raises the blood sugar and it raises the insulin. Insulin is put out in the blood to lower the blood sugar. But that sugar, if you have a lot of it, is basically turned into fat in the liver. That's called fatty liver. And then it's sent out into the fat cells for storage. So that's interesting. Maybe some of the health benefits that he's having is that he apparently is not having, refined sugar and not having starch.
You can't sustain a starch-based diet. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not what you want. Fresh, raw, living foods, living nuts and seeds. Sprouts, sprouted legumes, sprouted grains, whatever you want to eat, just sprout it, soak it, make it fresh and raw. I eat a lot of fruit. I eat a lot of salads. I'm always trying to hydrate my body with my food, and high fiber, high water, high enzymes. Being raw vegan will make you look and feel the best of your life. There's no question. Being raw vegan is phenomenal, but you got to do it right. You can't go at it willy-nilly. You got to do it right. Follow along in the footsteps of someone who's got it right. Like me, 50 years old, fully raw vegan, mostly plant-based all of my life, well, since a teenager, and I've mastered it, and I help others master it. So I've been coaching people on how to go raw vegan, how to thrive as a raw vegan for many years. I've helped thousands of people through juice fasting. There are thousands of people in my group coaching program, Raw Vegan Heroes. And I'm going to say, if you want to be raw vegan, if you want to feel the benefits, if you want to try more raw food, see how it works for you, have more fruit and salad, join Raw Vegan Heroes. Join us in this amazing community that celebrates health.
So, well, he certainly is a promoter for it, and it does have his own plan and coaching, and has a business doing that, apparently. Well, so this is a testimonial from someone who's doing a program that really is not using solid science to back up his criticism of eating meat, which is fine. I wouldn't expect him to cite articles and know all the detail. We're going to find, in any sort of eating plan, that there are people who are the influencers and promoters who make a living out of what they're doing. They presumably have had their own success. They might have done the eating way of life or lifestyle to fix a medical issue, or they might have just done it to optimize their health in a gym, for example. So always consider the source of, is that person coming at it from the same angle as what you want to accomplish? If you're trying to reverse diabetes, trying to lose weight or become healthier in another way, consider that, is that what that other person did? I'm also, it's coming into focus to me that there are people along the path of, there are those who are just promoters, there are those who are scientifically based, who are studying and then promoting or pushing or publishing papers in a certain direction, but only one way. We studied the vegan diet and it looks great. Well, what did you compare it to? Well, the typical American diet. Well, that is not a great comparison. So finally, there's a sub-analysis of a ultra-low fat and an ultra-low carb diet from the Stanford group, and it turns out that both of these programs could work. Now, these are people who self-selected to be in these extremes, and it's not the same as randomizing people to one diet or the other, but I think there are a lot of ways to be healthy. Over time, I'm finding now that there are some people who have almost a fixed belief. If you can imagine, you're going to the church. Let's say the science is a religion now. There's some people who are believing of this science so strongly that they would take offense if you would say, for example, there is no God. Or, for example, their LDL cholesterol can't be good for you. Or they're like some rule, well, eating meat is always poisonous, dangerous, poison. I mean, so hang on. So the believer in the church isn't, or the pastor, the priest, the rabbi, isn't going to question the word that they're teaching. they're not going to question the Bible, and they're not going to question the Torah. They're not going to. So they're implementers of the faith, so to speak. Now, in science, however, the people who create the Bible, though it's not right, it's like Moses came down with these tablets apparently, and well, no, scientists come up with a worldview and beliefs that can change. And so as the belief systems change, some people can't handle that. And I'm finding that a lot of these people who are trying to get you not to eat meat are pushing these theories that are man-made theories, thinking that they're somehow almost like a religion. So remember, science is replicable. The hallmark of science is that you can do the same thing and get the same result over and over and over. And with a religion, you really have belief systems that you can't prove. But it's okay, you can believe in that. And some people have criticized science being religion. No. The difference is that you can actually use science to, go to the moon or make this video camera. It's pretty amazing. So, but be careful of the proselytizers, the people who are taking, quote, science and treating it like a religion. That's going to be probably the next few videos I do, where the people who really, they don't know enough to interpret the Bible or interpret religion. They're just pushing it like they know the answer. And that's can be misleading and maybe even dangerous. No, it's not dangerous. It could be harmful though. Or it could be trying to persuade you to do something when really they're just not being scientific. I hope that's helpful. Press like if you like this, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on further content. If you don't have my top 10 tips on how to start keto right, please look in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and check out adaptyourlifeacademy.com.